Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back at it again with our Layer Forge Studios stream number 15. We're slowly working up the ladder. This is going to be a high intensity stream. I don't think I'm going to be talking a whole lot as opposed to working a whole lot. Um, I have been on vacation from work this week, and I've noticed that my productivity started slacking, and I've been trying to relax, which is fair, you know. But there's a lot that needs to get done, and so therefore I'm trying to uh, get more on board with everything, I guess, you know. Yeah, so don't be surprised if this is like a 4 hour stream where I don't talk a whole lot. Uh, Nothing wrong. I'm just trying to focus on getting stuff done. Uh, right now, we've been working on that Otternaut character, and I kind of wanted to slightly pivot to designing something related to it, like it's going on the model, but something slightly different. There's this emblem that I designed a while back for the Otternauts, and I wanted this to be my version of what we typically see in wargaming. Like there's a lot of skulls and um, different motifs, and you know, being that I want to design something that is unique to itself, right? Like I'm not trying to just copy to copy, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to create funny, um, this funny, what am I trying to say here? Uh, Fictitious universe where otters are the the subject of matter. I don't even, I'm clearly not doing good processing information or being able to speak today, but basically instead of having like humanoids, we have these otters, right, that have somewhat human characteristics, like standing on their own legs and whatnot. But I kind of wanted to create something that continued on with the original otter that I designed as an art toy, and maybe we'll still have the art toy version and the tabletop version, right? They're slightly different. One's kind of cute looking, and these guys are more monstrous, which I like. It's kind of like a yin and yang. The art toy is cutesy and kawaii, and the tabletop version is a demonic, warfaring species. I think it works. It kind of allows me to maybe, as I go through my own internal creativity, to toggle back and forth. Like if I want to work on the cutesy thing, I can do that. If I want to work on the more war-hardened, spacefaring or ocean-faring warriors, I can do that, right? I mean, I think that kind of allows me to, as a studio, advance my ideas further and not get bored of it, right? Like it could just be so much under the umbrella for the IP. They don't need to necessarily be connected, but I think it works. I'm not sure how it works entirely, but what I have noticed is the longer you work on these creative works, the more history you have, the more things start to come together, even though at first it didn't maybe appear that it makes all sense. I don't know if that makes like you're building a library that doesn't exist, right? So it's kind of evolving and growing. It's kind of like a living document, but for art. So it's like a living archive of designs that build on each other. So today, the goal here is to first I wanted to create a vector of this design, and then I'm going to create a sculpt of this design, and this is going to go. I'm going to grab some images just to kind of show what I'm talking about, but let's see here. So I'm gonna pull up an image. This is just for the sake of conversation here. So usually when we see some space marines, they usually have skulls on their chest, either with like wings or with the Aguila. There's some kind of variation. Sometimes they have skulls on the helmet itself. Um, it's a bit of I don't know what the hell I'm saying. It is some iconography, an iconic piece. I don't know that we see quite often. I'm just gonna take this drawing here to kind of try to find something that's more realistic. All right, like for example here, I'm just gonna take a snippet of this just for conversation's sake. We're not trying to copyright or do anything like that. I'm just trying to point something out to have a conversation here. So you can see that this skull is used quite often. It's up here on the chest, it's here on the belt, it's on his weapon, it's on his leg. So this skull is used everywhere, but it's on the helmet. But if I'm going to create my own faction, first of all, they're not humans, so it shouldn't be a human skull, but we should, kind of go with that gritty, grim, dark feel. Um, but for what we're doing, we need an otter. We need an otter skull. So this is something that I put together a while back on the iPad, and now I'm going to vectorize it just to have it on file as a vector for artistic purposes if I want to use it for something. And then we're going to take this into Blender and we're going to sculpt this as a relief so that we can use as a greeble, if you will, to decorate our armor or our characters. Use elements of it. So that's what we're gonna work on today for a little bit, and then we'll transition to working on the actual character itself. We will be taking breaks here and there throughout the stream to make sure that the 3D printer is running. We did start printing some custom poker chips for Rare Evo. So we've printed a dozen of them so far. I hope to print at least 100 of them. And we also have some dice as well. So I'm hoping to do like maybe 100 poker chips, 500 dice, and yeah, I'm not sure how many of these figures will produce. I'm not sure if we want to kind of create some system for getting these prizes, like do you have to be a holder? Do you have to at least follow us? Do you have to be in the Discord, etc., etc.? Should we have some requirements so that we're getting something of value, whether it's just making sure that relationship that we bought through this event in Vegas um, translates into a follower, translates into somebody that we can retarget, right? And part of this vlog is speaking to things in the capacity which I've learned through reading business books, and obviously we're in business for a reason. Like we're trying to grow and build a business, and therefore we need the ability to own our traffic, right? And so if we're doing an IRL event and we're investing our time and money to be there, we want to make sure that we gain something from that. We don't just want to statically attend something without any kind of um, some gain of value, right? Obviously networking without capturing the ability to contact these individuals is kind of moot. you've kind of lost all value that you intended to create. So we kind of need to make sure that we're going there with the intent to grow our ability to reach more people. And one way of ensuring that is what's happening is to ensure that they follow us on maybe social media, right? Like if you don't follow us on X, maybe that's like the minimal requirement is that you follow us on X. And the second requirement would be probably what's most important to me right now is growing YouTube. So we already have a pretty large X following, and that's just because we've been in the scene for a long time. Um, but I think right now what we want to grow the most of is our X. I'm sorry, our YouTube, because we're vlogging and it shows transparency, and this is really where we can communicate way more than just words. And so I think that's important, you know. And I know that if we ever want to have a, let's say, um, a crowd fund for a game in the future, like through the various crowdfunding platforms, that we want the ability to launch that in a successful manner. You know, I've watched some videos that talk about the prep or the fundamental requirements that are unspoken about successful campaigns on like Kickstarter or Patreon, whatever platform you want to use for your crowdfunding. Um, you need an existing base of raving fans in order to launch a successful product. Without that pre-existing base, your financial goals will be harder to achieve because you haven't established the minimal level of trust in any community or within the general scene that you're operating under, right? So having some kind of baseline of fandom or following or people that have bought into what you're building should be a prerequisite to trying to launch a high stake funding project to complete whatever it is you're trying to do. You know, let's say you're trying to raise X amount of dollars in order to launch Audernauts, all right? Like the first box set, you know, the same way like Warhammer has their box sets, they just launched their recent one. Um, imagine you want to do the same thing. You want to launch your first box set with a rule book in there to play your game, and let's say it's going to cost you $60,000 to kick off. You know, that's cost, and your goal is to raise $100,000 so that you can make, some profit for all your efforts. Then, how are you going to get to that step knowing nobody, making no trust, no credibility um, with anybody, right? So, in order to get there and have our 100,000, half a million, $1 million Kickstarter, we need to build a long runway, building trust, building relationships, and building credibility, right? I think that's the biggest thing is, are you credible? You know, everybody has dreams and goals and aspirations, but not everybody has credibility. And, in order to gain credibility, you need to have the ability to be humble, right? And actually be personable and communicate who you are as a person so that people can buy into your vision. Let's check our socials here, see if anybody. No comments yet. I didn't go too crazy posting tonight's stream anywhere. I just kind of went live just because it keeps me it kind of um, forces me to work more diligently, because like, oh, I'm live, like I gotta, I gotta be running with it. So it kind of helps push me a bit. So that's kind of the thought process on top of the live streaming, is forcing myself to be more consistent, be more transparent. Yeah, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to be me, as authentic as I can be, and hopefully people like what I say, what I do, and want to see what I'm doing come to life, and they support me throughout the process. So, I can say something, a little bit of an update. I did end my subscription to Opus and to X. Um, I'm trying to just reduce my subscriptions as a whole, just from a cost perspective, and just focus on building really organic content and not trying to like, I don't know, like sometimes like the AI stuff is so cool, it's so interesting, but then like after a while you're like, I don't know. Sometimes it's just, I don't know, too much. I don't really have a good way to word it, but it's nice to get feedback and to not feedback, but to see that your content is like being widely seen because of the shorts and whatnot, but at the same time, it's like, is the views that you're getting even relevant? You know, like, is it all just like somebody saw it on the stream? Okay, cool, you got numbers. Every once in a while, you might get a like or something, but other than that, is it really the right traffic? And I think this kind of like is resemblant of um, your dream customer, right? Like, is does the same thing apply to social media? Like, is any person that follows you on social media a good thing, or do you want quality versus quantity? Because quantity is cheap, you know what I'm saying? But, actually somebody stumbling upon your work and following you because they actually like what you're doing has a lot more value, you know? I don't know. And are you finding those people through shorts, or are you just burning money to create content to feed a machine that doesn't care whether or not the people that are watching your content care about what you're trying to build? How many times do you watch a TikTok short that has nothing to do with what you would have ever searched for, but you'll sit there and just watch it because whatever. But you don't like the video, you don't follow, you're just kind of like, whatever. I watched the short, just brain rot, So it's like, are you just feeding the brain rot algorithm and it's giving you this like dopamine hit because you got followers, but it doesn't really mean a goddamn thing? I don't know. These are these are the things that we think about, right? So we got this line here that we traced out, and we'll keep going until this is done. We'll apply some colors to it. I know that we started to explore what the color palette should look like on a previous stream, and we didn't really get anywhere. But we'll revisit that. So, yeah, our goal tonight is just keep pushing, keep working on our Audernauts dream so that we can showcase it at Vegas, get some feedback, build some new connections, figure out what happens from there. It's interesting. You never know the cross-sectionality of interest, right? Obviously, the show that we're attending in Rare Revo is an exclusive crypto-related venue. However, just because people are into crypto or part of the industry doesn't mean that's the only thing they're into. And it's interesting to see people that are also into, because of the NFT space and the collectibles, and people that are into things that you think that maybe they're not, but ironically, especially Cardano, in my experience, is a very nerdy scene, which I fit right in with. People that are into all kinds of collectibles, toys, and hobbies outside of just crypto itself. Um, yeah, I know a lot of people are nervous right now about crypto, and a good reason too. We've seen like max capitulation, the, like iconic chart like the "You are here, max greed," we're here, max capitulation. So, could be, not saying it is, could be a time to start accumulating some crypto, maybe, perhaps. It's a potential. So yeah, that's that's where we're at here. It's still a very exciting prospect to like be a very small project on the chain, and I really mean that when I say a very small project, and still being one of the very few projects attending this convention this year. I feel like the financial situation is dire for so many people, and I'm not making light of that. That the attendance looks like it may be limited, maybe in some capacity. The people that are here just to speculate on the short term are not making massive financial gains, and so maybe those people are not interested in attending. But people like myself, that this is my first opportunity to attend, I think it's a big part of growing within the ecosystem. I've been around for a long time, but this is the first time that we're trying to grasp the next level, reach out and try to grab at the next level. My hope is that we meet a lot of people that are on a different side of Cardano, right? I think this is like the developers, the business people, the individuals that are the actual movers and shakers, not just the degens talking shit on spaces, acting like Twitter spaces represent the entirety of a multi-million dollar chain. So, yeah, could be a good opportunity to meet a lot of people. So I mean, we got a couple things going on, right? We already ordered the tablecloth, the backdrop, so our booth will look legit. We started making our own poker chips, and we made some of our own dice, so we'll have those, and then we'll couple that with our debut of our first own miniature, right? Just like the first preliminary step in this whole adventure. And yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. and we're gonna be right next to the mallard order, which is pretty awesome. I think it'll be a good opportunity for me and Demos to chop it up. Sometimes like online, I feel like is not something. I don't like something about this. I feel like sometimes online is not the best place to build business relationship or long-term relationships. There's so many competing voices online, and most of them are Fugazi, right? And they're just sucking up all the air because they're still in this like hype mode, right? Like, I just started something. Like, great, you just started something. Cool. I wish you the best of luck, but I guess like when you start to develop a sense of self and maturity, you're not in that like hype, like do crazy shit for attention phase anymore. And I had a little bit of a crash out last night with some people on a space because I'm just not there anymore. I'm more just like, okay, uh, we talked about building the pyramid, and now we're learning how to cut the blocks. You know what I'm saying? Like we're no longer sitting here talking about things that are impossible, but we're breaking down the impossible into individual steps, like the individual blocks, and we're just going through the phases and building things the way they're done, step by step. And sometimes it becomes irritating to even entertain preposterous statements. And so it is what it is, you know. Hate it, love it or hate it. People are either going to love you for the things you say or hate you for the things you say. Ultimately, your goal should not be to please everybody, but to build real fans and fuck the haters because at the end of the day, someone's gonna hate you no matter what. That's irrelevant. That's always going to be the case. And so it's more important to be true to yourself and build people that, love you for who you are, support you for who you are, than to be an ass kisser or constantly out there promising bullshit and just being a grifter. I guess I'm still trying to get some shit off my chest. Yo, what up? What up, Shane? What's going on, brother? Hopefully you're doing well. Did your week finally end today, or are you also going in tomorrow? I'm just over here, man, trying to just echo chamber myself and just keep working, man. I can't be on Discord right now. I'm just trying to hyper focus my mind on getting stuff done. Hopefully you get that, man. Sometimes you just need to be in silence. Real grind mode. I feel like I already did this. I feel like I already vectorized this thing and I don't know where it is. I'm just sitting here like I don't know if I vectorized it or if I just cleaned it up real good in Procreate. For a long time I stopped using Adobe and I just resubscribed because I just find myself more and more needing better tools, like actually using Illustrator to create, vectors. It helps a lot to create vectors too, especially if you want to bring vectors into Blender, if you want to drop vectors. Sometimes it's easier, faster, better. I mean, depends how you want to describe it than bringing images into Blender and tracing them. Sometimes I feel like the pen tool is a little bit better than, uh, I don't know, just dragging vertices. The workflow is different. I don't know. I've also have a lot of history with using Illustrator, so for me it's like easy to draw up all these shapes. Not that it's not in Illustrator, but I mean in Blender, but I mean we also need it for both applications, you know? So and obviously we got all these little details here that we'll address later. But you can see we got this drawn up. There you go. So yeah. Let's see here, what do we got? We got this, that, this, that, this, that. Transform, reflect. Let's center that a little bit. Take this. Let's reflect that as well. So I did want this to be nice and symmetrical. Okay, we'll take this, and then we'll take this, and we'll punch that hole through. And then we'll take that. Okay, we'll take that. so now we gotta make sure that we expand all that, take this. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, let's see if let's get rid of that little line. Let's expand this. Take this, we'll cut that out as well. Alright, so now we got that nice little vector shape right there. Looks pretty accurate. And then we'll do these little teeth here. We only got like 3 teeth and we'll mirror it over. Okay, so we got here, 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 here. Let's take this and slim it down. Take the pencil tool, or the smooth pencil tool. It was funny, when I first opened this, I was like, dude, where are all the tools? Like, where have all the tools gone? Apparently there is an advanced Illustrator tool palette, and I'm like, you mean the regular tool palette? Goes to show how dumb new users are. You're not used to using all the traditional tools that have been around for a decade. I was like, how do you draw without these tools? It's like kind of standard shit. I think I need to make myself a batch of water. I got this like 1 gallon water jug that's my pal. But right now it needs some ice to be added to it, and it needs to be filled up with water. A little bit parched right now. We went out to the pool earlier, and then we went out to ice cream with the wife, and that was fun. See what we got going on here. Looks good enough for me. got here? We just got the bones, this little shield, and then we're gonna go sculpt in Blender. soon as we finish this, we'll take a water break. A little break to make us some water. And you know what? You know what I just heard? I just heard the 3D printer finish its current batch of parts, which is perfect because we're about to pause for water. So what we'll do is we're gonna get some water going, maybe a little snack, and maybe a coffee. Maybe I don't. Yeah, maybe a coffee. We'll make a coffee. We'll get some water. We'll swap the parts on the 3D printer, or I should say, clear the parts off the build plate and start up the next one. And then so I think what we'll do here is now that we'll swap the parts on the printer, we'll get some water, we'll get some coffee, we'll get a snack, and then when we come back, what we'll do is we'll actually share our stream on some different socials to see if we can draw in some people. Now that we've had our little private design session, low stress here. have to do the same thing we did for the skull here. We kind of need to find all these little pieces here, and we need to expand them, expand appearance. Let's start with this bone first, and let's take this the shape builder tool and let's just punch out these little shapes so we have a single color. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing here, and we'll just kind of eliminate everything we don't want to work with. So we got all those pieces right there, and we'll expand the appearance, then we'll select the bone, and we'll punch those shapes out. Okay, and now what we'll do is we gotta find what we have here, which I think is just those two. That's all we got. Okay, so we'll go Object, Expand, click this, go back into our shape builder, and we'll punch those out. And now we have this whole shape drawn up. Let's turn off the template mode here. I'm gonna move this to the side here. Let's lock that. Let's take everything and let's make it this colorish. Then let's draw this shield right here real quick. What do we got here? We got this. Okay. Kind of click that, that, and then we'll create this approximation right here. And it may not match exactly, but it's quite alright in my opinion. We really don't know. I think I drew everything in Procreate, so it's like kind of like a Photoshop type program, so the likelihood of this chevron even being remotely accurate is slim to none. Let's take, whoa. Select both of those, just bring this over here real quick. And what I'm gonna do is, let's select both of those, let's select to selection, and we overlap just a little bit, which is exactly what we wanted it to do. And then we'll just trim that. Alright, we'll bring that back to the center of the artboard. And then we'll make sure that this is aligned, which it is, and then we'll stroke to the inside, fill up to that line. It's basically like 7 pixels right there. And then we'll take all of this, move it over here. I'm gonna take all this and what do we got? There's something going on here. Get rid of that. Alright, so select that, take that, group that. So now this is all one group, just in case we want to make it white, for example. This border right here, let's see if we can push it to 10, because for some reason 10 is my My go-to stroke number all the time. All the time it's 10. It's a little bit different, but whatever. We'll go with, yeah. We can always scale this down just a tiny bit like that and keep this at 10. And we'll take this and we'll make that white as well. Alright. So let's delete this. What do we have here? This is in keeping with all our layer forge color palette. We'll take this, group this, make it smaller, slap that in the corner right there. Let's create 2 artboards real quick. And what I'll do is I'll keep we'll delete that. And what we'll do is we'll keep these on separate. I want it to be exactly in the right spot. Alright. Maybe this should just be white. Let's save what we have here. File, save. Okay, what I want to do is I kind of want to play around with something real quick before we take a break here. Um, Alright, let's just expand, object, expand, okay. Let's move that here real quick. Let's delete this little I'm already bored of working on this. We got a little bit further, right? Let's save that up. I keep getting these alerts that something about the stream they're not happy about. I don't know. All right, so we've been streaming for about an hour right now. We're gonna take a little break. It's 8 o'clock, and we're gonna check on some things. All right, so let me go ahead and take care of a couple things, and I'll be back. All right, so we're back, and we are gonna go from Inventor, I'm sorry, Illustrator to Blender. Before we do that, we're gonna share out some links on some of our social media platforms. So let's just grab our information. Let's copy this, post this. Let's post this also on Facebook. And I'm curious, is there a way to post also on YouTube, or is it just that kind of, hmm, not sure. All right, let's see if we can share on some different. All right, let's see if we went around spamming a little bit, but hopefully we don't get we get reprimanded for spamming. All right, let's see here. Okay, so I'm gonna take this, or at least just this skull part. That's all I need. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna make a new. I'm gonna create a new. What the heck? File, new. Oh, what the? That's weird. That was weird. Let's just go inches, 2 by 2. All right, let's just make this a black drawing like that. And let's just, technically speaking, so I technically don't need, what the, where did I save this to? This goes to, went under Layer Forge Studio. Okay, let's take a look at that real quick. Alright, let's take this, let's cut that, and let's put it into our Otternauts folder. Okay. Let's, we can close Illustrator now, we don't need it for the moment. And, I gotta empty, Blender scene. Okay. Give me a second here and I'll set that up and get that on the screen. Let's see here, let's go to our OBS. And nope, that's not what I want. Alright, I don't know why this isn't popping up. Excuse me. Let's open up a new Blender session and see if that detects the window now. There we go. Okay. Take that and we're going to set this up as centered as we can. Alright. So we got that up and running. Now let's get our shitty little, the PNG that I exported is kind of like bad quality. I'm sure I could enhance it, but um, I mean, I guess I could. Trying to think here, what is the advantage if I just brought it in as a slightly higher quality image? File, export as PNG, project, Otternauts, skull, outline. Alright. Still sucks. That still sucks. I scaled it up and everything and it still just looks like shit, but whatever. I'm not worried about it. Alright, let's check the stream real quick to see if that, yeah, that's right in the center. Real good. Just changing up my music a little bit here. Putting something a little bit more inspiring on. Alright, so we'll start with a basic skull shape here. We'll toggle our, okay. So, I think this kind of represents, he's got like an eye, right? But the eye's not there anymore, but he's got like an eye, right? At least this is my, and then, we'll mirror that just for, and then this is, what does this represent here? I don't think we need that. We're gonna hide the picture for a little bit so we can just uh, kind of vibe on this a little bit. Yeah, we'll start with something like that. We're going to sculpt mode here, and we're gonna start just trying to do something simple here. Let's build up the eyebrows that totally don't exist, but we got this like shape here that we need to figure out. So we got some mass behind the eye. Right, we got some, and then obviously this is a skull, so the bottom half, even though it's not even there, we kind of don't need it. We just need like a, something like that. Let's add just a little bit more geometry there. Let's add a little bit more material here. Alright, so now let's kind of check this and add a little bit of a negative sculpt here. Let's bring back that picture real quick. Here's our, let's try to cut some of this in here a little bit. Then let's hide this. Try to figure out what we got here. Let's see if we can add a little bit more geometry. And we can start to kind of work things a little bit more. combination of adding material and subtracting material here. We can get our skull shape coming up. Let's see if we can just kind of toggle this shape here, and let's see if we can. All right, just so we can kind of see what we're doing here. Let's move this out a little bit. Oh, I think we need a little bit more geometry. Trying to avoid bumping up to the next level quite yet. Let's try to work a little bit more on our blocking here before we go up a level. I think I am going to try and avoid what was I thinking here? Okay, our little blob brush. I'm gonna try and avoid too much too fast. I don't know. Alright, let's see here. Let's try to grab things and okay. I think that's all right. I know our artwork looks one way, but I think that's like kind of like the difference between 2D and 3D art is like 2D is more like it's more expressive, it's more imaginative, it's more foreshortened. Uh, 2D art kind of like leaves a lot up till interpretation, because obviously you're just looking at lines and lines don't exist, right? We kind of have like this curvature here that doesn't exist in 2D, at least in this drawing, so we kind of have to create something which approximates what we're trying to achieve. And it's like, what is that? I think we kind of inadvertently created that. This thing right here, and that's like this depth, this drop in depth here. Let's see if we can take this crease tool here, and we can kind of crease in this shape. Alright. Yeah, I mean, we can kind of improvise what we want this to look like without looking at the reference. I don't think the reference is ever going to give us an explanation for that. Alright. I don't know how much we can really add without going a little bit deeper into a higher geometry here. Kind of limited with how much we can do here. We can either do dynamic topology or we can just keep moving up. I think at this scale, we're kind of approaching a higher definition. Uh, Still limited, but I think we're getting closer. I don't want to go too overboard with all of this, but I do want something that looks really nice. Yeah, see, I think we have quite a bit of geometry we can work with here before we need any more. And this is going to be like very small on the chest, you know? So there's no reason to go completely overboard with this. And I do like the idea of having this row of teeth here be a little bit more, uh, how would you describe this here? Let's see here, what's the best way to approach this? Maybe with the crease tool and kind of identifying this right here, and then hollowing out the bottom a little bit, right? So just kind of go in here and work this down a little bit. Let's keep going. Oop. For now, let's go a little bit further with that. Just to kind of, I think we're gonna need a hollow out between the eyes, maybe? Let's see here, can we? I think this is where, you know, these little details here are really gonna help us bring this up. See, I think we kind of already have a lot here to work with. We'll add a little bit here and there and see how we can. All right, let's take that. I think we might have to add a little bit more geometry. We we have some, but not enough uh, to kind of accomplish what we want here. So let's I think we're gonna try to use some dynamic topology here. See what we can achieve without going too overboard. All right, let's try to. Might help to also look at a real otter skull too, once we get a little bit more detail going here, to kind of look at the real anatomy as opposed to the expressive cartoony anatomy, and kind of look at what are we missing. Let's bring this back real quick. Let's toggle this here. I think there should be like a, it's almost like a little knot. Okay, so it's like a M shape or W shape. A W shape. Okay, so what does a W look like? I think we maybe made this a little too deep. We'll have to. I don't know why we got this weird looking. I feel like it's sucked in too much, which means we have to kind of like bring it up. And then now we can kind of create that crease coming through here. Hmm. Hey, what's up, Dixie? No, I don't use a special mouse. I use a regular mouse. Just a regular mouse. I have my drawing tablet, but it's still not hooked up. Why? I don't know, because it's the only way I can look at files on my old computer, and I still haven't transferred all those over. Uh, Maybe that should be on my to-do list for tomorrow, is transferring everything over that's on my... Maybe you can help me with that tomorrow. I need the most convenient way to transfer files, and it's not a whole lot of files, from my old computer to my new computer. I just haven't gotten there yet. But now, I mean, right now I'm just using a standard mouse, nothing special to do all this work in. There are some different mice that you can buy. But I do have a drawings tablet. It's what my keyboard is sitting on right now, and I could be using that, which would probably help me do this a lot better. But I don't know. I just got to get that all those files transferred over, wipe my old computer, and then I can start just exclusively using the new computer. Just got to get there. Let's see here. That's funny. Let's see what's going on over here. Alright, what I wanted to do real quick is Google search an otter skull. And I already know that this is, the otter skull looks nothing like what we have right now. Nothing like it. But, we will have to... I'm trying to find a good picture that we can use as a reference of an otter skull. And it's more elongated than you think, which is kind of funny anyway. Um, it looks like their eye is not as shielded like a human eye is. Like a human eye is inside of a socket, and this is slightly different, which is interesting, to say the least. It's more alien-esque, which is even cooler. I still think that we might take some artistic um, privileges to kind of design this slightly differently. Just because this is these well, let me just type. I'm looking at sea otter skulls. Let's look at regular otter skulls, and let's just kind of look at this. It almost seems like the eye is floating on the outside of the skull. And what do we got here? It's almost like, first and foremost, this skull, instead of being round, is like super elongated like that. Which is fine, we can do that. It's kind of actually funny. And then this is not exactly correct. I'm not sure how to begin modeling it correctly, but what I can say is let's try and steadily kind of get it where it needs to go, which is like this eyebrow's not here. It's basically um it's basically an open area right here, and the skull that protects the brain is kind of way further back, if that makes any sense. There's like a pocket where the eye sits on top of the skull, not inside like an eye socket like we have, right? So their skull is like way back here, and then there's like a feature that kind of surrounds the eye underneath, but the top, if you want to think of it like right from the top, the eyeball's like sitting on the skull. So if this is the skull here, and we're trying to add some more mass here, and this is our skull, the eye is sitting like in a pocket in front of the skull. And then let me look at some pictures again. Okay, so there's like a hole in here that goes like from here to here. Let me see if we can make that hole. We need to like create a hole right there. It's trying to seal up the hole, god damn it. Okay, how can we what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create another piece of geometry to kind of stuff in there, and then we're gonna create like a manifold with that. So what we'll do is we'll just take this and we'll stuff it like that. We'll grab our sculpt tool. Just kind of create a hole here the best way we can. Like that. I know, super pretty. But it's all we need is like, we need a nice clean hole. And we're gonna use this as a tool to do that. The way we tried to do it before was just not the right way to do it. There we go. Give ourselves a hole like that, but, uh, let's see here. Okay, we'll hide that. Now we got that. Okay. And we'll have to remesh, of course, because now we got some crazy geometry. But we'll just remesh inside of our sculpting application. We'll do, oh, I don't know. Let's go for 0.005. All right, there we go. We got our area remeshed there. And the real otter skull, it does attach. Okay, it does loop around and attach. So we got that much correct. Why we're going this crazy, I don't know. Maybe that's just what's going to make this whole, project more unique is the level of attention and commitment towards realism, yet not realism, It's like the more insane inspiration, the better. And that's kind of what we have here is like this. This supports like the outer eye. And then if I look at this closely, we do have this hook here, this like little bit of skull that protrudes out. But there is no back. The way we kind of hog this out, there is no back. However, this can come out a little bit further like that. This actually looks so freaking cool. It's like definitely more fantasy looking, which is awesome. We couldn't have asked for something even cooler. But there is a little bit of something like that. And then we're gonna have to hog out a little bit more material in the back here. Um, this definitely is for, I don't know why, all I can think is Diablo. It's giving me Diablo vibes. That the skull from Diablo, which I couldn't even be happier that this is how this is coming together. That it's got like this super cool fantasy demonic vibe. Wasn't what I was going for, but I can appreciate the aesthetic. Let's see here. I need to. There we go. Not bad. All right. So now I guess we can keep working on all kinds of details here. Let me look at some more reference pictures to kind of get a better grasp of what I'm doing here. And there's obviously different types of otters, and their skulls are slightly different. And I don't think we need to go berserk, but yeah, this is definitely like yeah, see, that's looking. And like, how does our reference image now kind of fit fit in with all this? Yeah, it's not bad. Accentuate it a little bit more, but that's fine. Okay. All right, let's see if we can scrape a little bit. Let's see, do we have a scrape brush somewhere here? Scrape fill brush. Yeah, perfect. Let's just kind of come in here and try to fix some of this a little bit. Scrape at it a little bit. Okay, and this should be I think we can kind of cut away at this a little bit. I mean, imagine this is on the chest. Yeah, and then we got the teeth. Yeah, this is gonna look different. And I think that's part of the interest behind making this otter themed. Well, it's a couple things. One, I like otters. Why? I don't know. I don't know if you believe in like the universe communicating with you at times, but like there's reasons why I picked the otter. I don't want to go into like deep details now. Maybe this is like, oh, if it's successful, he'll reveal why he wanted to do otters. Um, but it's something that my mind has gravitated a couple times, and yeah, it's kind of the reason why, in a nutshell, without revealing the dark secrets. It's just something that has always popped up. And then second to bat outside otters would probably be cats, but I feel like cats are overdone, and like otters are like the cats of the ocean or the cats of the water, so it's like pretty good. Let's just go with that. And look at this skull. It's just so more serious, man. So more, so more serious, if that's even English. Alright, so let's just pretend that our eyeball is gonna go in here, and this is why we've made this little pocket. It's not exactly anatomically correct, but these are galactic otters fighting in space, right? So, not sure if we were ever going for realism. Not sure if we were ever going for realism. And then this should start to become why the otter is the way it is. I don't know. I'm not God. I didn't create this, but he kind of has like a skull that starts to become rounded. Instead of convexed, it's concave. Instead of concave, it's convexed. But we're kind of gonna half and half here. We'll make the top convex and the bottom concave in order to give the illusion that an eye goes there, even though that's not how it actually is. It's a little bit different, but yeah, look at that. Look at that. Is it, and I'm I'm really liking the way this is going. I really am. And like I said, this is not meant to be realistic. If I wanted this to be realistic, I'd sculpt it realistically, but realism is boring. Anybody can do it. Just study some pictures and do it. It's not a big deal. I'm trying to create a whole artistic brand, and it's a little different, a little different. All right, so in my mind, even though it's not, I'm like, this should be a little bit stronger right here. Even though I get it, it's not. We're trying to make it realistic. We're trying to go for like a half and half. Half and half. Like an Arnold Palmer, like a half and half. Half iced tea, half lemonade. Sweet and sour. I don't know. Let's just kind of soften this brush a little bit. It's a little too heavy. Okay, keep working on that. Keep building up this mass here. Just kind of clean this up. We're trying to get this curve just right here. I'm gonna use the grab tool to kind of fix this profile a little bit. Ugh. No, I do not like that. Can we go back to where we were? Kind of like that this has a little divot there. All right, so let's kind of pivot towards working on the front for a little bit here. I'm gonna add a little bit more mass here at the bottom, just the bottommost section here. Let's see if we can use the grab tool to kind of fix, and I think let's see if we can use the crease tool. Ooh, we went off our little mouse pad. Okay, now let's kind of, I think I want to add some teeth in. Let me just take a quick peek at something here. Yeah, maybe this isn't correct. It's just a little shape here. I went a little bit overboard with it, maybe. I don't know. A little. got here, folks? What do we got? Let's check our stream. Have you ever tried using those CAD design? I have one at work. I do have one at work, and I hate it. I thought it was so cool. They've been around for a long time, and I was like, I hooked it up one day because I guess the last engineer was using one. Hooked it up, set it up, and I try to use it with AutoCAD and with Inventor, and I fucking hated it. It's just uh I don't know if this has to do with just like being used to using a mouse, but I did not find it to be intuitive. I did not find it to be like natural at all. Uh and I know like I do like rotations, right? Like I'll sit here, move, pan, and I'll do all this stuff. And like one hand is on the mouse and one hand's on the keyboard the whole time, right? Like I'm always on the my left hand is always on the left side of the keyboard so that I can quick toggle, shift, control, Windows, alt, everything, so I can hotkey in between everything, right? Uh, but like this idea that you can spin a dial to do this as opposed to just doing it with your mouse, like I never, it never felt intuitive to me ever. I mean, if it feels better for other people, hey, it is what it is, but it never felt intuitive to me. It always felt sloppy, I guess. I think what it is, um, if I can try to put this into words, is if you're not used to spinning around in 3D all the time, it is like, okay, how can I do? If you're a traditional engineer, right? Like you went to school for mechanical design, maybe you think that having a dial and spinning the model like a turntable is intuitive to you, but for me, I have spent so many years working with just mouse and keyboard that it feels perfectly normal to me to spin around like in crazy directions. I don't know. I guess like when people see me or like when, when I'm at work and people come up to my desk and we're reviewing stuff, I guess they always say I'm like spinning the screen way too fast. And I'm just like, what the fuck you talking about, man? Like, what do you want me to spin the fucking screen slow? Like, what are you asking for? Like, it's like either you get it or you don't. I don't know. But maybe you're right. Maybe I have, a little bit developed a little way to I don't know. I don't think it's really that unique to me though, to be honest. I just think it's like either you can, I don't know. I don't know. I have no freaking idea, man. Uh, Toggle invert grow show phases. I always forget. I always forget where the symmetrize. What the heck? Toggle shrink. I thought there was a symmetrize tool here and I don't see it. Wow, does that look? Is it just me or does that look? That looks way better. Hmm, interesting. Yeah, there is a symmetrize tool here. For some reason I can't find it, but there is a symmetrize tool that I was looking for. And yeah, anyway, whatever. Moving on. So yeah, about that mouse thing, yeah, I have one at work. I tried it, and I felt it was completely unnatural. It's like this big ass freaking thing that has all these buttons on it, and I'm just like, yeah, this is like for boomers, man. This is a boomer tool, man. See, that looks pretty cool from afar. That's all that really matters, is that it looks cool from far away, because you're never gonna see this very large at all. It's always gonna be relatively small, compared to the whole sculpture size. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a small little decorative item. So right now I just wanna create the necessary geometry to make sure our little divots hold some level of detail. So we got some way of holding that little detail there by creating a raised surface on the opposing sides. I'm probably going to keep sculpting for another, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to an hour. I don't know. I kind of want to hop on and hang out with some of the guys tonight before the weekend. So that looks pretty decent. Um, we're never going to see this from this. It's always going to be. Actually, that's that's actually very accurate to what the otter skull's kind of like. It's a little bit maybe like elongated, bro. This is like uh, the elongated. What is it? Alien skulls? I don't fucking know. All right, let's see if we can add some teeth in here and kind of wrap this up. I don't think we need the bones part. I think we just need the teeth. That's at least in my opinion, the critical thing. Okay, let's take this. Let's throw some subdivisions here, and we'll. Okay, right now we obviously just have a box shape. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna turn this into not a box shape by kind of kicking out our shape a little bit. Okay. Okay. And we need to be way up front. And this tooth kind of comes out of this area. What we'll do here is we'll add a little subsurf, get that nice and smooth. We'll take like that, cool beans. And I want to make it a little bit more round, so what we'll do here is we'll take all of our vertices on the outer edge and we'll push them forward, like so. And that'll help to round it up a little bit. We'll kind of do the same thing in the front here. Select all these side vertices and the center one, and we'll just kind of just push those back. Okay, that looks terrible. I don't know what happened there. Let's take that and we'll go into our sculpt mode here. We'll take our smooth tool. Just kind of bring this to a little point here as best as we can. We kind of smooth a little bit too much. Alright, we'll kind of take this. Alright. It's not terrible. I mean, there's definitely some room for improvement here. What I'm going to try to do is take some of these vertices on the outside here and kind of shrink them in a little bit, just to kind of make this more spherical. Let's see if we can kind of let's apply this just so that we can have a little bit more geometry to work with, because right now it's a little tough, and that kind of looks geometry wise a little rough to kind of fix too. So let's see if we can do something like that, you know. Let's take our smooth tool. Let's just make it nice and smooth, not too strong, and let's just kind of clean up our tooth here. Okay, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna build up a little bit more material. Let's just take a look here. What do we got? Okay, we'll just sculpt with what we have. And we need to build a little bit of bone support for this tooth here. We can't just have a tooth unsupported by anything, so we'll add a little bit of mass for that. Alright, add a little bit more. That's pretty cool so far, right? We got all these little teeth in the middle to work on, but so far that's pretty sweet. Let's see what we got here so far as our stream. We're almost at 3 hours. That was a pretty good stream today. Makes up for not streaming yesterday. A little, uh, uh, I just didn't stream yesterday. I think I'm at like, max disturbance from the schedule. Like, when you're just so used to doing your grind, Monday through Friday, you have your schedule and all of a sudden there's no schedule, then your sleep schedule starts getting messed up, you start staying up late, and before you know it, everything is getting out of control. Work helps to regulate me, you know? I don't know how you guys are, but I do like consistency. Even though it's limiting, like I can't do all the things that I want in life, it's still, I do well with the consistency. Let's try to add a little bit more geometry here. Whoa, what did we do there? Did a cool little flick there. Alright, we gotta add a little bit more material to this center little gum bump. Gum bump. It's not gum, it's bone, but it's a gum bump. Alright, let's just see if we can use the grab tool and manipulate these a little bit further. Alright, let's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slowly maybe reduce some of this here in the back. got here? Not bad, not bad. I like it, I like it. We're definitely we're getting somewhere. Alright, what does this look like here? I'll just add a little bit more material. I don't know, looks pretty badass. Um, I think. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's see if we can remesh here. Where are we at with the size here? Okay, we're tiny. Well, let's try that. Okay. Cleaned up our geometry and kind of made things a little bit more clean. What do we got? We got like 500,000 verts just on this little piece right here. Not bad. Now, we hollowed out all this here. I want to look at some references again real quick. Let's see here. Otter sculpt. Apparently that's what I typed in. Okay. It's kind of funky looking on the bottom. Yeah, okay. Because there's like basically the mouth. Let's say this is our mouth here, right? That's our mouth. So we're going to bring this back up right here. So here's your mouth, and that's on this plane. Okay. And there's all kinds of details on this piece right here, but I'm not gonna accentuate too much. Yeah, this needs to come way up. But it's pretty huge where the eyes are. It's almost like this is way further back. Like that.
which is fine. That's fine. Okay. Let's see if we can smooth this out just a little bit here. Add a little bit of material, subtract a little bit, try to do whatever we can to kind of smooth out this transition here. Not even against this little bit of material here. Okay. And what I kind of want to do here is, yes, this should be higher. So we'll add material here. And then the rest, let's kind of grab this and stretch it a little bit further like that. And this kind of represents the top of his mouth, right? Like that. So that's the top of the mouth right there. Okay? And yeah, it's not super realistic. Like I said, we're just trying to, I don't know, end up somewhere in between realism and fantasy. You know? And it's just gotta look badass at the end of the day. Like, that's like the ultimate rule of thumb. If it doesn't look cool, it's not right. I'm gonna fill this in a little bit. We're gonna lower this a little bit. Okay, something like that. That's how I think it should look. Let's see if we can kind of undo what we got right here. I'm not sure what happened. Are we just too dense to kind of... I don't know. Let's see if we can just do little... Let's see if we can bump this up to like 10 pixels. And that'll help us undo this a little bit. let's see here. Can we? All right, let's bump this to 6 pixels. Oh. All right, let's Why does that? I don't even know why this does this sometimes. I mean, it's fine and all, but okay. I don't know. Looks freaking cool to me. Looks freaking cool to me. Alright. Whoa. Look at that. Just like the picture. Alright, let's save this here. We'll do Autonaut Skull. Alright. And we are at 3 hours. Not bad, not bad. So I think 3 hours is a pretty good amount of consecutive work. We'll pause today. We'll pause for today and we'll come back and we'll continue tomorrow. I think we're gonna try to do another 3 hour stream every day for the next 3 days because then we're back to work and then we're kind of limited. But so far I've been enjoying a little time off from work and being able to do more artwork and hopefully you guys enjoyed watching the streams. But we're done for tonight, folks. Um, Ciao. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July. Drink responsibly, party responsibly, and yeah, we'll catch you around.